walking around, comes in and turns on his light. The other guy falls down.
Kia ora everyone, this is Kelly from Waka's Bazaar, and this is another Waka's Bazaar tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a simple concrete base for a diorama using some very accessible tools and materials. So grab yourself a sheet of XPS foam and give it a bit of a clean up, as I had to do with mine. Grab yourself a sharp blade with just a small amount of the tip poking out the end and a straight edge, and just cut your grooves into the XPS foam. Now this is going to emulate the grooves that you see in concrete slabs in a warehouse or in a shipping yard. I believe they put the grooves into concrete to accommodate the changing of the weather. In the summer the concrete expands and this will avoid cracking. So grab yourself a pencil and use the tip of the pencil to widen the grooves. When I first started making dioramas I didn't have any tools, and this was one of the first tools I acquired from our kitchen, and it's just a single piece kitchen knife, and it's solid, strong, and I'm able to sharpen it, and it's perfect for taking chunks out of the XPS foam and also carving cracks into the foam. So I find you can go overboard with the cracks and the chunks taken out, and so what I do nowadays is I'm quite minimalistic, and rather than over weather it with all these cracks, I just have a few here and there just to break up the monotony. And then we're going to make some variation in the surface of the concrete by rolling up some tinfoil into a ball and then rolling and pressing the tinfoil into the XPS foam, which creates the random texture. Now to seal it all off before we paint, we're going to use some slightly diluted Mod Podge, paint the entire surface and the sides. Now if you intend to dry the Mod Podge with a heat gun, be sure that you soak up any puddles in the cracks first. Otherwise a skin will form and the Mod Podge under the skin will take a long time to dry. Now for the paint, I grabbed some random testers from out of my paint container. I've got 3 shades of grey there. Shades of grey. Now I've watered this paint down quite a bit because if it's too thick you start to lose some of the definition in the cracks, and I don't want to do that, so thin coats. Originally I painted it a bit too dark, and then I went over again with the lighter grey. Now in toy photography I don't like to make concrete too light because I find that the lighting can wash out the light grey and make it look almost white. The next step is dry brushing, and this will highlight the edges of the cracks and the grooves in your diorama, and I'm using a very light grey, almost white paint, and I have a stiff flat edge brush which I brush most of the paint off onto the newspaper, and then I just go over the cracks and the grooves, and the paint that's left on the brush should get picked up by the edges. So you may notice that the light grey paint is actually going onto some of the surface areas of the concrete slabs. Now I'm not too worried about that. Sometimes I would be, but in this case I'm not, and I know that the next step when I do the dark wash, that those white areas will get dulled down quite a bit. So the next step is the dark wash, and I have an accumulation of old watered down dark paints that I just keep topping up at the end of each project, and it's watered down quite a bit, and we do that so that the wash can get right into the cracks and really darken those areas inside the cracks, making a contrast between the cracks, the grey slabs and the white edges. I also went over those areas where the dry brushing had gone onto the flat surfaces, and that was just to dull down the white, but all in all it didn't really look that bad, to be honest. Now the last thing you can do is seal this off with some Mod Podge matte. That will just protect it for longer. but I was a bit lazy in this case, and I wanted to get straight into seeing what this would look like in a photo. So I dried this off and then started a photo shoot and organizing and arranging the diorama. So thank you for watching another one of Waka's tutorials. I hope you enjoyed this. So you have now learnt how to make a very simple concrete base, and you've also learnt how to make a concrete wall by turning it on its side, and a concrete roof by turning it upside down. So go for it, make yourself some concrete dioramas, take some photos, tag me in on them, and let me see what you're up to, and let me know if you need any help. Just sing out, and I'll be more than happy to provide any support if I can. So kia kite anō, I'll see you again, and ciao.